Hey, Matt here for AVC. Welcome back to the shop. Today we're giving you some tips and tricks to get your van build started right. We're going to be looking at sound dampening and insulating our van, so let's jump right in. This video is going to be a great complement to our new van prep, so if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check out that link in the description below so you can catch up. Also, we have links available for all the products we're going to be using in this video, also in the description, so if you need to pick up some of these things and support the channel, go ahead and hit that Amazon link. One of the first steps in our van build is going to be sound dampening. Now, the reason we would want to add sound dampening to our van is we're going to make it a much nicer ride. So as we drive around, as we listen to music, as we're camping in a crowded campground, something like that, this is going to help keep that sound out of our van and keep us more comfortable inside. By no means is this necessary, but it's a really easy step at the start of a build, and I think you should. The product that we are currently using here at AVC is Killmat. Now, we've used a bunch of different stuff in the past. Killmat, Noiko, Amazon makes their own in-house brand of this stuff. Dynamat is kind of the Kleenex brand name that everybody knows. All of those, in my opinion, are basically the same product. It's going to be a butyl-based layer on the back and a heavy foil on the front. Now, the purpose of this is to stop resonant sound transfer in your van. So the panels in our van are going to ring like a bell, and that vibration is what is the sound transferring into the inside of our van. So by sticking this stuff on those panels, it's going to mute that vibration and slow the sound from coming into our vehicle. Looking at the Killmat we have here today, it has a quilted pattern on it, and that is kind of an application assistant. So when we stick this stuff on the van, we want to smooth out all those quilted patterns so that we know we've applied it correctly. Now here at the shop, we use this little dimpled roller, has these little grooves on it. It helps roll that stuff in a little bit easier. When we're doing lots and lots of vans here, it helps. You can also use like the back of a screwdriver and just smooth that stuff out. In the end, it's going to work the exact same, and you don't have to buy, a $30 roller. Another thing that's going to help you along the way are some gloves. This stuff, when you tear it or cut it, is going to have sharp edges, and when you're reaching into all the nooks and crannies in your van, you're going to find some sharp edges there too. So I definitely recommend wearing some protective layers, a glove, something better than a rubber glove though, so that keeps you from getting cut up on your hands. Now, application. I see a lot of people online applying this stuff absolutely everywhere, and it looks like they're sponsored by this stuff, but honestly, it's overkill. And this stuff is heavy. A box of this weighs 20 pounds, 25 pounds, and if you put 8 boxes of this in your van, you're adding 200 pounds to your vehicle. It's going to hurt fuel economy, and it's just going to cost you more money. I think 50% coverage throughout the interior of the van is totally adequate, and then the places I like to go heavy are going to be wheel wells. So doing 100% coverage on our wheel well, I think helps. It's a single layer here. We're going to get rocks, things like that, thrown up by our tires. It's going to keep it much quieter. Another really good place to go heavy on this stuff is going to be inside of our doors. Now, the difference between a luxury vehicle and your standard vehicle typically is stuff like this and insulation in your doors. And that's what gives it that luxury sound when you shut the door. So instead of that real empty clunk, it's going to be a nice solid thud when we shut that door. So the next step in our van build will be insulation. So here at AVC, we use 3M Thinsulate. We use the SM600. So that's a 1.5-inch loft, and it's a Thinsulate material. Now, this Thinsulate was actually developed for sound absorption. 3M made this. They specifically designed it for a sound dampening material, but it turns out it had great thermal properties. So we find this stuff in our ski gloves. We find it in our ski boots. We find it in anything that's meant to keep us warm. And they're not putting it in our gloves for sound absorption. They're putting it in because of its thermal properties. So it was just like a really nice byproduct, and it works great in our van. Another cool thing about the 3M Thinsulate is it's moisture and mildew resistant. So it's not going to hold moisture, it's not going to mildew, it's not going to grow funkiness on it, it's not going to smell funky over time. It's engineered to do exactly what it does, and it's going to do that really well for a long time. Another cool feature of the 3M Thinsulate is it doesn't hold a flame. So if you had a spark behind the wall, something like that, ideally we're not going to have anything like that ever. But if it did, should the worst happen, it's not going to ignite and hold a flame. So it'll just melt. And to show you that, I'm going to go ahead and grab my blowtorch. I'm going to try and light it on fire. So you'll notice the product will melt, but it doesn't hold a flame. Even if I hold it up here real hard, it self-extinguishes and it goes right out. So when we're applying our 3M Thinsulate, we want to stick this nice open baffle side to the wall of the van. By gluing this directly to the skin of our vehicle, we're going to do a little bit more resonant sound transfer. So we're going to stop that panel ringing like a bell, just like our sound dampening mat does. But that open baffle is going to absorb sound. So it's going to make a much nicer, quieter ride. And then it's giving us R value of 5.7. So it's a nice insulating material, and we can double that up in some places. But the main thing about insulating a van is you just don't want to overdo it. If all of your panels are pillowing out and they have this like overflowing insulation, that is not a good thing. We just want just enough. A little bit of loose airspace in there isn't going to be the end of the world, but overdoing it is going to cause you problems down the road. So we just want to glue this into all the nooks and crannies of our vehicle. Again, we're going to hit our doors a little bit more than other places. Stuffing the doors full is going to be really nice, gives them that nice luxurious sound when we shut them. There's really not a wrong way to do this. So it's up to you, it's up to your climate, it's up to your level of effort. If it's the first step in your van, you're probably going to be pretty gung-ho. So go ahead and do a good job. This is a great place to get familiar with your vehicle and go crazy. So just to review, next to the van skin on our vehicle, so if we think of this as our van skin, our first layer is going to be our kill mat, or our sound dampening material. That's that butyl-based foil-backed layer. Then we want to make sure we roll it onto those spaces to get good application. Then we're going to add our insulation. In our case, we use 3M Thinsulate. We use that open baffle glued directly to the vehicle. Then we can do our walls, foam, upholstery work, everything else like that. It's going to give you a great, quiet ride and a comfortable van to live in. I hope you found these tips and tricks to insulate and sound dampen your van helpful, and I hope they're going to help you get your van started right. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button so others can find it, and if you want to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe. With that, we'll see you on the next video.